Yeah. You know what it is? Your boy D47 all day for real, on the grind, handling that business AM, PM, popping off as much rugby league information as possible. Right now, up to the 1965 wooden spoon in Australian Rugby League, as per always, so you're not missing any crucial rugby league information, watching this video all the way through to the end. This time, nowhere near as complex as some of the other wooden spoons. It was easy got the wooden spoon in 1965, and it was nowhere near as horrendous as the 1963 wooden spoon they got, where they only scored 116 points in the season, and it was also absolutely nowhere near as repulsive as the next year, 1966, where East actually lost every single game, believe it or not. But they did still get the wooden spoon. It was still bad enough to get the wooden spoon in 1965. It's a pretty cut and dry, crystal clear, obvious, straightforward one this time. From their 18 games, they managed only 3 wins, 1 draw, and had 14 losses. Started the season terribly and finished the season terribly. They had a little bright patch of form in the middle of the season, but that was not enough to end up avoiding the wooden spoon. And the stats are pretty like usual, what you would expect from the wooden spoon team. They scored only 149 points in attack from the 18 games in 1965, but conceded 353 points, so the for and against minus 204. So pretty ordinary, but what you do expect from the wooden spooner. And the leading try scorer, his name was Paul Cross, and he managed 8 tries for them, so a little something at least. Player getting 8 tries from the 18 games, scoring in nearly half games, doing a little something. And another player called Bob Landers was the leading point scorer, and he got 1 try, 23 goals, a total of 49 points for East in 1965. And that's 49 points because, like I always have to remind us all, tries used to be 3 points at the time. That's why that's 49 points. So, moving into the moment in the sun, the most embarrassing moment. East, like I said, started the season terribly and lost the first 7 consecutive games in 1965. That was not unusual for them. But it wasn't the most embarrassing moment. The most embarrassing moment came later on. So after they lost the first 7 games in 1965, the moment in the sun actually arrived first. And the next 6 games, rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, the next 6 games, they actually had 3 wins, only 2 losses, and 1 draw. They actually picked up 7 competition points from said 6 games. So just when they had a mini resurgence, like it looked like they might be able to use those 7 competition points to then win a few more games before the season ended and end up avoiding the wooden spoon. That was not what happened, and the most embarrassing moment came along where they fell on their sword, collapsed, fell in a heap, fell to pieces, and lost the last 5 consecutive games. That's how they did in fact end up with the wooden spoon. But the scores though, because the only games that they did get any competition points, the scores when they had the little mid-season revival in 1965 round 8, they finally had a win and beat West 15 points to 8. First game they won for the year. In 1965 round 9, they'd lost to Parramatta 28 points to 4. In 1965 round 10, they had beaten Manly 17-7. In 1965 round 11, they had lost to Balmain 21-14. In 1965 round 12, they had beaten Canterbury 11-9. And in 1965 round 13, they had their draw with Newtown 11-all. So that 6-game period in the middle of the season played reasonable. I mean, they played not too bad, but obviously, the most embarrassing moment then came along when they lost the last 5 consecutive games to end up with another wooden spoon. But, like I said, absolutely nowhere near as disgraceful as the next year, 1966, where they lost all 18 games. No wins, no draws. They lost every single one of their 18 games. And we had to actually peel back Australian Rugby League history 2 whole decades, 20 whole years before that, all the way back in 1946, South Sydney lost every single game and got the 1946 wooden spoon. It was 20 years before 1966. Any other team had lost every single game. And you can scroll through this wooden spoon playlist and find the 1946 wooden spoon that South Sydney picked up, losing every game that season. And since 1966, even more ridiculously, since 1966, it's obviously been 58 years, nearly 6 decades. Since 1966, no other team, no other wooden spoon team has ever lost every single game in the season. So that's coming up next. And if you're a Roosters fan, I'm sorry, but I've got to get through all the wooden spoons. Unfortunately, I said I was going to do all of them. So just need to hang in there. And then in 1967, 2 brand new teams, exciting stuff. In 1967, 2 brand new teams enter the competition. And we go from a 10-team comp up to a 12-team comp. And those 2 teams still participate in the comp to this very day. One of them hasn't built up any sort of dynasty, but has a pretty good history, like has a pretty proud history. Not one of the most successful clubs, but a pretty proud history nonetheless, where the other team, who entered in 1967, does have an absolutely phenomenal history, especially recently. So, and it's obviously not East or Canterbury getting the spoon in 1967. Brand new team getting the wooden spoons. There you go. Look forward to what's coming up next. Thank you so much for watching all the way through to the end so you didn't miss any crucial rugby league information. Thank you so much for ongoing, continued, pulverising, blinding, malevolent, brutal support. As I always say, subscribe for this channel for hundreds of other rugby league information videos, chock-a-block full of essential rugby league information and statistics. Like the video, comment, subscribe, share with all your mates. You know all of this all day. Thank you so much for watching. B47, Toodaloo.